In this video, we're covering the evolution of Felonious Gru, Despicable Me 2010.
Go away, I'm not home.
Yes you are. I heard you.
Making his debut appearance in the first film installment of the Despicable Me franchise, Felonious Gru, who was simply known as Gru, was a mean and cold-hearted villain who found pleasure in doing evil towards others. He was tall, bald, blue-eyed, and had a long, broad nose. He dressed in all black with a dark stone-gray sweater and a gray and black scarf. He was physically strong and athletic and had a thick accent. As a villain, Gru had made small steals like when he stole the Times Square Jumbotron, miniature statues of the Statue of Liberty, and the Eiffel Tower from Vegas. His latest plot was to steal the moon and become known as the world's greatest villain. Gru disliked children, but when he adopted 3 little orphan girls in his plan to steal a shrink ray from his rival in his plot to steal the moon, his heart melted and he enjoyed spending time with the girls. Their entry into his life brought a change in him and he quit villainy.
I fly to the moon. I shrink the moon. I grab the moon. I sit on the toilet. What?
Home Makeover 2010.
You must be the social worker. Please be coming then.
Set after the first film, this short film's plot revolved around Miss Hattie sending a social welfare officer to inspect Gru's house, but Gru was not home at the time. The minions disguised themselves as Gru and rearranged the house. When the social worker came through, the house passed the inspection until the original Gru showed up, which confused the social worker, and he passed out. When Gru saw what had been done to his house, he passed out too.
I think he likes it.
Despicable Me 2, 2013.
I think that the sun is the mastermind. There's a devilish look in his eyes and I don't like it.
Gru retired from villainy and focused his energy on looking after his girls and his jellies and jam production. Gru was then recruited by the Anti-Villain League to assist agents in their efforts to track down a perpetrator who stole a secret lab that was being used to experiment on a serum called Mutagen PX41, which was capable of transforming living things into indestructible killing machines. Gru was partnered with Agent Lucy Wilde, who later became his love interest. As a committed father, the other moms kept trying to set Gru up on dates with women, one of whom would potentially become his children's mother, but he had no interest based on his experience with females growing up. He also had to look after his girls, especially after discovering that Margot had developed a crush on Antonio, who was the son of one of Gru's suspects, El Macho. Gru eventually uncovered El Macho's plans and married Lucy.
I knew it! You are El Macho!
That's right!
Nobody believed me! Oh, but I knew you were dead!
Puppy 2013. This short film centered around the relationship between one of Gru's minions, Dave, and a miniature UFO. One night when Gru and everyone else were watching TV, the UFO saw a fellow UFO being attacked, and it blew up the TV. Pissed about what had happened, Gru kicked Dave and his UFO out of the house. Minions 2015.
I am the greatest supervillain of all time!
Oh, were you?
The movie was centered on a time during Gru's childhood. He was supposedly below the age of 10, but was very smart and had an interest in creating inventions. Gru attended Villain Con alongside his mother, and he closely observed a freeze ray that was being experimented on which he later used. During the film's conclusion, Scarlett and her husband had returned to Buckingham Palace to try and steal the crown again, but they were frozen by Gru, who took off with the crown and the minions. The Secret Life of Pets, 2016. Felonious Gru made a brief non-speaking cameo appearance with his pet Kyle in the dog park. Despicable Me 3, 2017.
Hello, Gru. How's your transition coming? You know, from world's worst villain to world's worst agent?
Gru became a full-time agent for the Anti-Villain League with his wife Lucy. After failing to stop Balthazar from stealing a gem, the duo got fired. Gru's long-lost twin brother suddenly resurfaced, and Gru and his family had to travel to meet him alongside a few of his minions. While Gru's personality was mostly grampy and serious, his brother was more jovial and childish. When the two brothers bonded, they decided to work together to steal the gem from Balthazar Brat. Gru intended to hand it over to the AVL and get his and his wife's job back, while his brother wanted to become a worthy villain and prove his father wrong.
Freeze, dipsticks! Gru? There's 2 of you now? And this will be twice as much fun!
Saturday Morning Minions, 2021. Continuing with their fan adventures after the events of Despicable Me 3, Gru featured in some episodes of this short film special along with his minions. The majority of his appearances were non-verbal and could mostly just make sounds of displeasure or his wicked laugh. Minions: The Rise of Gru, 2022.
Me? I want to be a supervillain.
Acting as a sequel to the Minions film, this film was set in 1976 during the Chinese New Year. Young Gru had just adopted the Minions and taken them in. Gru greatly admired the Vicious Six, and his dream was to be a part of the team. When he applied for a slot, he was ridiculed by Bell Bottom and her team. As a way of proving them wrong, Gru stole the Zodiac Stone and took off with it. The Vicious Six then sought him out, but he was kidnapped by Wild Knuckles, who was also interested in the stone. Upon discovering that Gru didn't have the stone, he instructed Gru's minions to retrieve it, or he was going to kill Gru.
Who is this?
Kevin, les mignonnes?
Kevin Lay what?
Les mignonnes.
You kidding me? You got henchmen?
Well, that's the end of that.
Mini-boss?
Despicable Me 4, 2024.
Gru, I need a word with you. Your family's lives are at stake.
What?
Maxime Ramal has escaped from prison.
Gru is the world's favorite supervillain who turned into an anti-villain league agent. In this film, he is back alongside his trusted minions, his wife, daughters, and the latest addition to the family, Gru Jr., with whom he shares a love-hate relationship. When an old foe of Gru escapes from prison, Gru and his family are forced to go on the run.
3 girls, 1 wife, something is missing.
This guy.
Oh, there's my boy!